The cold, dark expanse of space stretched endless and unforgiving around the exploration vessel Horizon's Promise. Dr. Una Park leaned forward, her eyes fixed on the holographic display that flickered with strange energy signatures. Something was different about this sector of space. J. Kim, the navigation officer, adjusted the ship's controls with practiced precision. His fingers moved quickly across the complex interface, tracking minute changes in stellar radiation and gravitational anomalies. "We're picking up something unusual," he called out, his voice calm but tinged with curiosity. The ship's sensors began to pulse with an irregular rhythm. A faint heat signature emerged from what appeared to be a massive debris field. At first it looked like standard space wreckage, fragments of metal, scattered dust, the typical remnants of some long-forgotten cosmic collision. But Una knew better. Woo Jin Lee, the security commander, moved closer to the scanning station. His muscular frame tensed as he studied the incoming data. "Those aren't random fragments," he muttered, tracing the patterns with his finger. The vessel inched forward, its advanced scanning systems penetrating the darkness. Suddenly, a massive heat signature blazed across the screen. Something was alive. Out there, Hyun Choi, the medical specialist, rushed to the display. "I'm detecting biological readings," he said, his voice a mix of excitement and concern. "But they're strange, not like anything we've encountered before." As they approached, the debris field revealed itself. A massive ship, or what remained of a ship, lay broken across several astronomical units. Its design was unlike any known vessel in human records. Sleek, organic, with curves that suggested both beauty and brutal efficiency. Una's heart raced. First contact scenarios played through her mind. Years of xenobiological training had prepared her for this moment, but nothing could truly prepare anyone for the unknown. The ship's external cameras zoomed in. Something moved among the wreckage. A creature lay broken and bleeding. Its body a magnificent blend of silvery blue fur and muscles that seemed to shimmer with an internal energy. Beside it, barely visible, a smaller form huddled, a cub, trembling, somehow still alive. "We need to get closer," Una commanded. Jay maneuvered the Horizon's Promise with exceptional skill, navigating through the treacherous field of metallic fragments and cosmic debris. Each movement was calculated, each adjustment precise. The closer they got, the more impossible the survival seemed. The adult creature was massive, easily 3 times the size of a human, with multiple limb structures that suggested incredible adaptability. Its breathing was labored, each breath a struggle. Against catastrophic injuries, the cub fascinated them most. Despite the destruction around it, despite the apparent death of its parent, it remained alive, watching. Woo Jin's hand instinctively moved to a weapon, then stopped. There was something in the creature's eyes, intelligence, not just animal, survival, but a profound awareness that seemed to challenge everything they understood about alien life. Hyun's medical scanners worked overtime. "Incredible cellular structure," he muttered. "Multiple respiratory systems, quantum adaptive cellular regeneration. This isn't just an animal. This is a sentient being." Una made a decision that would change everything. "Prepare emergency containment. Protocols," she said. "We're bringing them aboard." The rescue was delicate. Special containment fields were activated. Robotic arms extended from the ship's exterior, carefully maneuvering both the massive parent and the small cub. Each movement was calculated, each adjustment made with surgical precision. As they brought the creatures into the ship's medical bay, something unexpected happened. The cub, despite its apparent weakness, looked directly at the human crew. Not with fear, not with aggression, but with a look that seemed to say, "I know you and I understand." The parent creature made a low sound, part growl, part something that almost resembled a word. Then silence. Una Park stood beside the containment unit, her hand touching the transparent barrier. Years of scientific training battled with an overwhelming sense of something more. Compassion, curiosity, a connection that defied standard scientific explanation. They had come looking for data. for scientific discovery. Instead, they had found something far more profound, a potential ally. A mystery, a living testament to the universe's endless capacity to surprise. The Horizon's promise continued its journey, carrying with it a secret that would change everything humans understood about life among the stars. The medical bay hummed with advanced technology, its sterile white walls contrasting with the alien life forms now resting within specialized containment units. Hyun Choi moved between complex medical interfaces, his hands dancing across holographic displays that tracked every minute biological signal. The adult creature, massive and seemingly near death, presented a medical puzzle unlike anything humans had ever encountered. Its body seemed to shift and pulse, cellular structures moving in ways that defied standard biological understanding. Multiple organ systems worked in a complex, interconnected network that made human anatomy look simplistic by comparison. The cub fascinated them even more. Smaller but no less complex, the young creature's biological system suggested an intelligence far beyond a simple animal. Its eyes, deep and reflective, seemed to track every movement in the room. It wasn't just watching. It was studying. "This is impossible," Hyun muttered, reviewing the initial scan results. The creature's cellular structure showed adaptive capabilities that seemed more like advanced technology than biological evolution. Each cell appeared to communicate with others, creating a network of biological information that worked with incredible efficiency. Yuna Park stood beside him, her scientific curiosity burning bright. "Run the quantum resonance scan again," she instructed. Something about the creature's biological makeup suggested capabilities far beyond simple survival. The ship's medical systems worked tirelessly. Specialized nanobots created custom healing environments, adapting to the alien physiology in real time. What would have been fatal injuries for most species became a complex healing process for this remarkable creature. Days passed. The parent remained in critical condition, its massive body connected to multiple life support systems. But the cub, something extraordinary was happening with the cub. It began to communicate, not through words, not through traditional language, but through a complex series of biological signals that the ship's advanced translation system slowly began to interpret. Woo Jin Lee watched from the security station, his initial wariness giving way to something else. Curiosity. Respect. The cub displayed problem-solving skills that rivaled human intelligence. It understood containment, it tested boundaries, it learned. "It's trying to communicate," Jae Kim observed, watching the translation algorithms struggle to process the complex biological signals. But not like we expected. The cub would press specific points on its containment unit, tap in precise patterns, respond to light and sound with calculated movements. Each action seemed deliberate, intentional. Hyun discovered something remarkable during a routine scan. The cub's brain structure showed multiple processing centers, not linear like human brains, but a complex network that suggested collective intelligence. Each section could function independently and collectively. "It's like the entire body is a brain," he explained to Yuna, showing her the complex neural mapping. Traditional concepts of intelligence don't apply here. The rescue protocol became something more. No longer was this a simple medical intervention, this was first contact, a potential bridge between two completely different forms of intelligent life. Communication remained challenging. The cub responded to certain sounds, certain color frequencies. It showed clear emotional responses, curiosity, caution, moments that seemed like playfulness. But understanding remained limited. Yuna made a critical decision. "We need to establish basic communication," she told the team. "Develop a translation method that goes beyond traditional language." Advanced linguistic algorithms were deployed. Biological response scanners tracked every minute reaction. Slowly, painfully, they began to understand. The cub was more than a survivor. It was a messenger. Something had happened before the crash. Something significant. The biological signals suggested a complex story of survival, of loss, of a journey that spanned incredible distances. As medical Treatments continued. The team realized they were witnessing something unprecedented, not just the survival of an alien species, but potentially the beginning of a relationship that could change everything humans understood about life in the universe. The Horizon's promise continued its journey, carrying with it a medical miracle, a living puzzle, a potential key to understanding life beyond human comprehension, and at the center of it all, a small, remarkable creature that seemed to watch them with an intelligence that suggested this was just the beginning of an incredible story. Weeks passed, and the creature they nicknamed Whisper began to change everything about their understanding of alien life. The medical bay transformed from a sterile containment zone to something more, a place of unexpected connection. Wu Jin Lee discovered the first real breakthrough. During a routine security check, Whisper began mimicking his hand movements. Not randomly, but with precise, calculated intention. When Wu Jin raised his hand, the creature would mirror the action perfectly. "It's learning," Yuna observed, her scientific detachment slowly giving way to something deeper. Curiosity. Wonder. The ship's crew found themselves drawn to Whisper. What had started as a scientific observation became something more personal. The creature showed remarkable adaptability, responding to different crew members in uniquely personal ways. With J. Kim, Whisper seemed fascinated by the navigation systems. The cub would watch holographic star maps with an intensity that suggested more than simple curiosity. Its biological sensors seemed to process information differently, analyzing stellar patterns, movement trajectories. Hyun Choi noticed something even more extraordinary. The creature's healing process defied all medical understanding. Wounds that should have been fatal transformed rapidly. Cellular regeneration happened at speeds that made human medical technology look primitive. "It's not just healing," Hyun explained to the team. "It's evolving, adapting. Every medical intervention is being processed and integrated into its biological structure." The parent creature remained in critical condition, but Whisper seemed to draw strength from the crew's presence. Communication evolved beyond simple biological signals. The cub began using a complex language of movement, color changes, and subtle vibrations that the ship's advanced systems slowly decoded. One evening, during a quiet ship cycle, something unexpected happened. Whisper approached the containment barrier where Wu Jin stood. Instead of the usual cautious observation, the creature pressed its hand, or what served as a hand, against the barrier. Something passed between them. Not just a physical connection, but something deeper. A moment of mutual understanding. Yuna realized they were no longer dealing with a simple rescue mission. This was first contact in its purest form, not through words or technology, but through a fundamental connection that transcended species. The crew began teaching Whisper, not intentionally, but through daily interactions. The cub absorbed everything: ship protocols, basic technological interactions, human behavioral patterns. It showed an intelligence that challenged everything they understood about alien life. During navigation training, Jay noticed Whisper could predict potential stellar navigation challenges before the ship's computers. Its biological sensors seemed to process complex astronomical data in ways that defied scientific explanation. Wu Jin started including Whisper in basic security protocol training. The creature showed an incredible understanding of threat assessment, spatial awareness, and defensive strategies. It wasn't just learning, it was integrating. Hyun discovered the most shocking revelation during a routine medical scan. Whisper's biological structure was changing, adapting. The time spent with humans was literally transforming its cellular structure, creating a hybrid form of intelligence that merged biological adaptation with learned experience. The parent creature remained silent, but something seemed to pulse between the cub and its injured parent. A connection that went beyond simple biological relationship. A complex communication that the human crew could only glimpse. As weeks turned into months, Whisper became more than a rescued creature. It became a crew member, a potential ally, something that challenged everything humans understood about intelligence, survival, and connection. The Horizon's Promise continued its journey through the vast darkness of space. But now something had changed. The ship carried more than a scientific mission. It carried the potential for a relationship that could transform humanity's understanding of life itself. Whisper watched, learned, adapted, and somewhere in the complex biological signals that passed between the cub and its injured parent, a story was being written, a story of survival, of unexpected connection, of a journey that was just beginning. The darkness of space suddenly erupted with violent energy. Massive ships emerged from quantum fold corridors, their angular designs cutting through the stellar darkness like razor-sharp blades. The Void Collective had found them. Whisper changed instantly. The once curious creature transformed into something else, a being of pure protective instinct. Its body shifted, cellular structures realigning into a defensive configuration that defied human understanding. J. Kim's fingers flew across navigation controls. "Multiple hostile vessels approaching," he shouted, his voice calm despite the imminent threat. "They're not here to negotiate." Yuna understood immediately. These were the same beings responsible for the earlier attack that had destroyed Whisper's original home, the same species that had nearly killed the creature's parent. The Void Collective's ships moved with a cold, calculated precision. Each vessel represented technological superiority that made human spacecraft look primitive. Weapon systems charged with dark energy, quantum-based weapons that could shatter entire planetary systems. Wu Jin Li activated combat protocols, defensive shields raised, weapon systems prepared, but something unexpected happened. Whisper moved to the primary tactical display, its body generating complex biological signals that seemed to interface directly with the ship's systems. Hyun watched in amazement. The creature was doing more than watching. It was actively analyzing the approaching enemy's attack patterns. Biological sensors processed information faster than any computer, predicting movement trajectories with impossible accuracy. "They're hunting something," Whisper communicated through a series of complex biological signals. The translation systems struggled to keep up, but the meaning was clear. This was more than a random attack. This was a targeted pursuit. The first wave of attacks came quickly. Quantum-based energy weapons that could slice through standard spacecraft defenses like paper. But the Horizon's Promise didn't respond like a typical human vessel. Whisper's biological interface allowed for predictions and defensive maneuvers that defied standard combat logic. Jay witnessed something extraordinary. The ship moved not just through navigation, but through a complex dance guided by Whisper's biological input. Each movement was a calculated response, each defensive action perfectly timed. The Void Collective's ships began to falter. Their predictable attack patterns suddenly became ineffective against this unpredictable combination of human technology and Whisper's unique biological intelligence. Wu Jin realized they were no longer just defending. They were fighting back. Whisper's parent, still recovering in the medical bay, began to pulse with energy. The connection between parent and cub created a complex communication network that amplified their defensive capabilities. Hours of intense combat passed. The space around them became a complex battlefield of energy weapons, quantum disruptions, and impossible maneuvers. The Horizon's Promise was no longer just a scientific vessel. It had become something else entirely. Yuna understood the significance of this moment. This wasn't just a battle. This was first contact in its most intense form. A demonstration of what happened when two completely different forms of intelligence came together. The final assault came suddenly. The largest Void Collective ship charged its primary weapon, a quantum disruptor capable of destroying entire planetary systems. But Whisper was ready. A complex biological signal erupted from the creature. Not an attack. Not a defense. Something else entirely. A communication that penetrated the enemy's systems, creating a moment of total confusion. The massive ship stopped. Silence filled the space around them. The Void collective vessels began to retreat. Not defeated, not destroyed, but fundamentally changed by an encounter they couldn't understand. As the last enemy ship disappeared into quantum-fold space, the crew of the Horizon's Promise looked at Whisper with a mixture of respect, fear, and wonder. They had survived. More than that, they had transformed the nature of their conflict. Whisper looked back at them, its body slowly returning to its previous form. But something had changed. They were no longer just a rescue mission. They were something more. A message. A warning. A possibility. The Horizon's Promise drifted through a quiet sector of space, transformed by its recent encounter. Whisper had become more than a rescued creature. It was now a critical member of the crew, a bridge between human understanding and something entirely new. Unipark studied the complex data streams generated during their recent battle. Whisper's biological systems had done something unprecedented. They had communicated with the Void Collective in a way no human technology could comprehend. It's not just communication, Hyun explained, reviewing medical scans. It's a complete exchange of information. Biological, technological, something that goes beyond language. Whisper's parent had finally stabilized. The massive creature, once near death, now pulsed with a renewed energy that suggested something profound was happening. The connection between parent and cub was more than biological. It was a complex network of shared experience and understanding. Jae Kim noticed changes in the ship's systems. Areas where Whisper had spent time now showed enhanced functionality. Biological interfaces merged with technological systems, creating something that defied traditional engineering concepts. Woo Jin Lee, once the most skeptical crew member, now treated Whisper as a critical part of their mission. The creature had demonstrated combat capabilities that surpassed any known military training. Its ability to predict and counter threats was nothing short of miraculous. The diplomatic implications became clear. Whisper was no longer just a rescued creature. It was a potential ambassador, a living proof of the possibility of interspecies communication and cooperation. Earth received their initial reports with a mixture of excitement and profound confusion. Scientists, military leaders, and political representatives struggled to understand the implications of their discovery. Whisper began to share information about its species, not through words, but through complex biological data transfers. The crew learned about entire civilizations that existed in ways humans had never imagined, societies that communicated through quantum-level biological networks, civilizations that moved between stars like thought moves between brain cells. The parent creature became more active. Its massive form would sometimes move through the ship, examining human technology with a curiosity that matched the crew's interest in its own biology. During one critical moment, Whisper demonstrated something extraordinary. Using a combination of biological signals and ship systems, it began to construct a comprehensive database of interstellar communication methods, languages, biological communication patterns, technological interfaces, all merged into a single, complex system. Yuna realized they were witnessing the birth of something entirely new, not just first contact, but the potential for a completely new form of galactic communication. The ship's mission changed. No longer was this a simple exploration voyage. They had become ambassadors, carriers of a message that could transform human understanding of life itself. Whisper's biological systems continued to evolve. Areas of the ship began to change, adapting to the creature's unique biological interface. Walls seemed to breathe. Technology responded to biological signals in ways that defied traditional engineering. Hyun discovered that Whisper was actively healing the ship. Micro-repairs happened constantly, biological systems working in perfect harmony with technological components. The Horizon's Promise was becoming something more than a spacecraft. It was becoming a living entity. The crew's relationship with Whisper transformed. No longer were they researchers or rescuers. They were partners, collaborators in a journey of discovery that went beyond any single species or civilization. As they approached the outer reaches of known human space, a decision was made. Whisper would be their bridge to a larger universe, a living testament to the possibility of understanding beyond traditional boundaries. The parent creature made a sound, part communication, part something more profound. A connection that suggested their journey was just beginning. Jay plotted a course into unexplored space. Wu prepared defensive systems. Hyun continued his research. Yuna watched Whisper, understanding that they were no longer just exploring the universe.